Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today we're actually going to talk about Golem Overlord. It's a NFT-based cryptocurrency blockchain video game that rewards you for your time and effort. And I am playing it. I've been playing it for months. I want to show you some of the data on what I've been able to receive from my participation in this. I did put some value in. I want to try and clearly articulate what I've done, how I've done it, and how I think it's replicable. But then I also want to talk about the joy that I'm getting out of it. And I'm going to talk, there's going to be information here that many people don't fully understand that will hopefully help you if you're just curious and want to get started. It's not exactly a how-to. It's more of like, this is what I've seen, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm enjoying it, and these are the things I know. It's definitely an ongoing conversation, but I hope it'll be valuable for you. So again, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. I cover blockchain-based video games. Splinterlands is the key, but not the only. And I do so because they've changed my life, and I think they might change yours. So if that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Golem Overlord is this is what they say. Golem Overlord is an idle incremental game that aims to be simple to play but challenging to master. Idle means you do not need to consistently engage with the game in order to progress. Incremental means that you build up your stats bit by bit, slowly improving your ability to spend these processes over time. That's from the white paper. And some of the things have changed from the white paper. In fact, a lot of things have. This game is still in alpha, but that remains true. You with this game, you can log in. You know, it depends on what your claiming window is like, but there are a variety of claiming windows. The idea, first and foremost, is that you generate essentially a picture like a city, and that city is yours. Your city produces X amount of product, whether that's military or passive financial gain. Military allows you to steal other people's passive financial gain, but passive financial gain allows you to be self-sufficient without the sort of offensive side. And so it's really offense or defense as the two main modes of play. And this data on the left-hand side of the screen here is essentially my city. Thought of it another way, like you are a ruler over a place in like the futuristic wasteland of whatever this place is, and you run an army of scavenger golems that go out and harvest resources from the world to sustain yourself. And so you need to manage how many scavenger golems you're going to create, and that means that you need to manage how big your golem charging stations are, because that's where you power them, and that limits the amount of the golems that you can actually have. There's a lot more to that, but that's that's the passive side. If you have a large amount of scavenger golems, they're going to passively produce revenue for you. That revenue is part or comp, and those are the cryptocurrencies that you receive from just having this game on your computer, like being a participant in this game. But it's one thing to have a significant scavenger golem. It's one thing to have a significant scavenger golem army. It's another thing to be able to defend them. So you actually, if you're going passive route and you want to earn through scavenger golems, you really need to have a high fortification. Having a high fortification means that other people need to have a high power in order to overcome your fortification. There's also faith, which is another element that faith increases the amount you steal on successful attacks. It also determines your maximum shard stash. But but as a result of it impacting how much you steal on successful attacks, if you have that is weighed against whoever's attacking you. If they have a lot more faith in you, they can steal more from you. It's like their golems come in and influence your people or something, and they end up probably smooth talking is a way to think about it. It's like a charisma score, and your golems enter an adversarial location, take what they take, but then maybe the people are more or less willing to cooperate with your attackers at the end of the battle, and that's like dependent upon your charisma score versus theirs. So I mean, it's a lot of data analysis, and that might not appeal to everybody, but financially this thing rewards. And trivial though it may be, it adds up if you invest it across a long time horizon. I put about $100 into this game. So on April 28th, 2023, I created a video called Golem Let's Go. And that's where I started this journey. I think I needed $10 worth of Hive to buy a staff, which is like the key to it's like a spell book. If you're familiar with Splinterlands, it allows you to play the game. And then I put in $50 US in order to buy the token that allowed me to start investing in the ecosystem and to start investing in my scavenger columns, my power, my fortification, my charging stations, and my faith. All that ability then lets you then increase how much you can produce. And 8 months later, it's actually starting to really significantly pay off. And I've been tracking my data over it's roughly the last 30 days. It's actually about the last 25 days. And I've been able to make, on October 20th, I started selling part. Again, part is the cryptocurrency that you receive. It says Golem parts, or aka part, is the main currency and it's used to upgrade or stake or burn. And so when you use it in the upgrading function, you receive these permanent increases to your city, to your ability, to your capacity to earn. And again, that's either offensively, defensively, or even there's like a bank is like where you store your scavenge part. And so you need to have all of these things need to get upgraded. You use that ongoing part income to do so. And you can either just keep rolling it over and reinvesting and getting that compound interest by increasing these things and thereby increasing your income from the game, and then reinvest that increased income and so on. That's compound interest at work. And that's what I've done up until the last 25 days from now. Like, so for 7 months, I took $100 and I just reinvested it. And I've got to this place. And I'm by no means, if we come into the battle screen, you can see where I rank in sort of the scheme of things. These guys have, I can see a bit of their information. This person has a rating of 7.2 million. They're number one. They have a stash of 23,000 art. They have a faith of 700. I have a faith of 150. They have a fortification of 800. I have a fortification of 150. They have a power of 770. I have a power of 160. And so they're leaps and bounds ahead of where I'm at in terms of their income, in terms of their power and their prestige. But these people put in, far more than $100, and maybe they optimized in ways that I didn't. But then again, if you want, you can search by restricted, and I can go ahead and I can say I want to look at the people who have the fortifications that are greater than 5, or up to 5. Sorry. And so here we see these are the different accounts that have there are 39. There are 39 pages of this that have a fortification level of 5 or less. These are all just, I think, beginners who are really thinking attack first, and they didn't do any battle sort of defense. And they're just getting started. They have a rating far lower than me, and they have very little income. There's a wide range of participants in this, is the point. And I was talking to Stever82 recently, and he plays this game, and he's played it for probably just as long as I have, but he has far weaker stats, because not only did he not substantively invest at the front line like $100, which isn't that substantial for some people, but for me really wasn't that substantial. I just used some cryptocurrency I had lying around with DEC to move into this and create that $100 value. But for some people, that's a huge amount of money. Steve, it's not, but he didn't really care. He didn't really take it seriously. So he just bought his staff, and he extracted whatever part he needed to in order to make sure that this was a free roll. That's one attack for a game like this. And for any game that is blockchain based or NFT based, that's going to allegedly reward you for your time and attention, especially a brand new one, a degree of skepticism makes a lot of sense. And Golem Overlord was brand new. Who knew if it was going to stick around? Who knew if it was going to be, meaningful? So he went and sold much of his part to claim back that initial cost. Now he is free rolling, meaning there is no financial cost for him to play this game. But because of that, and the power of compounding the investment was lost on that $10 or $20, and so he is far, far, far behind me. Again, $100 paid on the Hive Engine marketplace. You can go in, you can buy part, you can buy shards. Those are the two main liquid cryptocurrencies that are available through through the game that can help you in the game. And so if you wanted to, you could come in here and log into your account. And if you have Hive token, you could use it to buy part token. And, tons of people, well, not tons of people, but, the daily volume is about $1,500. Usually it's around $700. So it's quite minor. Like there's just a small little audience that are taking this seriously. And it still has room to sort of fall apart. But man, it's really interesting to note that I have taken very little effort to get to a place where I'm now generating revenue, about $2-3 a day. And I can show you the data in a minute, but I just want to first sort of continue articulating like how it would even get to where I'm at. Again, I went in here and I spent some of my Hive and I bought some part token. And then when I did that, I moved it's immediately into the game, and then you can use it to upgrade whatever you see fit. And then I use that increased revenue to upgrade again and again and again for 7-8 months. And now I'm at a place where, like I said, since October 20th, I have started generating. This is my Golem Overlord income in the past, like I say, not quite 30 days. I know it's kind of small, but October 20th is the first date, and I sold 1,542 units of part. Some of these are shard sales, and that's why I've noted shards. That's the second currency you get from the game. And you earn both of them through battling. You earn both of them while you're scavenging. This is the passive income coins that you receive while playing the game. And I'm not going to bore you with all the numbers, but suffice it to say, like $1.26, $2.67, $2, $1, $2.50, and so on, down all the way down to the total, which is $65.53. And that's not even 30 days. That's October 20th to November 16th. $65 US paid in cryptocurrency and, held in cryptocurrency. So you might argue it's not realized gain because I put it into Hive and I've just kept that Hive. Sure, you could say that. But the cool thing is I want Hive. And the second thing is if I didn't want Hive, I could use that to buy DEC or SPS or whatever I wanted. But the truth is I want that Hive. And then secondly, I'm not denying or giving up on this. It's not like the game now creates something called part, which I mentioned. They create shards, which I mentioned, but they also create comp, which is this soulbound currency that you can spend on these upgrades as well. So I use my comp to upgrade my buildings, my abilities, my power, and my fortifications, etc. And I often sell most of my part. Maybe I will use some of my part to do key upgrades as I see that makes sense, because my opponents are always growing too. And there are different ways that I can't fully articulate in this one video, but I would say like when I log in, well, let me tell you, you have a stash in this game, and that stash fills up as you collect as your scavenger golems work, or as you battle people and steal from them. Now, if your stash fills to the brim, you get no more resources, there's nowhere to put it. So you cap, and then you need to either claim or you're losing part income. But the problem is, if you don't have any part to upgrade the stash, you can imagine how you would ceiling out and you would lose. So I've created a scenario where my stash is big enough that I fill it pretty much every single time. And as I grow my sort of ability to extract more, I need to grow the stash more. And I've done that. And because of this relationship between stash and the capacity to reach it or not reach it, to fill it or not fill it, I almost have a metric or a measurement that I can use to decide whether or not I'm gaining on my enemies and improving, or whether they're growing faster than I am. Because remember, my ability to earn, especially when I'm attacking others, is dependent on my ability to beat those others, or that the others I'm beating are meaningful collectors of part. So what I mean is, if I can't fill this stash, then I need to upgrade my battle mechanics. I need to improve my power. I need to increase my faith. Why? Because I'm coming in here at the time that I'm ready to claim, and I'm attacking certain people. Well, maybe right now I would attack somebody who has 125 fortification, not greater than 125. And these people might be easy wins. Like this guy here, I have a 100% chance to beat him. He only has a 56 part. But see, his stash is very, very limited. I'm not going to steal hardly anything, just 6 part. That's barely anything. I need to steal 50, 60, 100 from each individual, or it's not worth it. And so what you want to do, at least for me, and at every level, this is part of the thoughtfulness of the game. You want to understand that where your enemies are at, because I'm capable of easily beating this person. 80 to 100% chance to win, 80 to 100%, 80 to 100, 80 to 100. Some of them will have you know, a better chance of beating me or resisting me, let's say 60, 80, etc. But at this level where I'm going to win almost all of my battles, which is desirable, right? I don't want to go and attack and lose, because if I lose, I actually lose part. I don't just not gain, I actually lose part. But if I don't just want to beat them, I want to beat them in a meaningful way that results in a massive gain to me. And so this is kind of that sweet spot where I am winning most of my battles, but maybe the rewards are not significant enough. You know, I mentioned I want to gain about 50 to 100 from each of my battles. I would almost say 100 is really the desired point for me to fill my stash. And all of this is relevant because when you're playing this game, the point is you're measuring your success and power against your opponents, because either you're able to beat meaningful opponents or not. If you can beat meaningful opponents, you're going to fill the stash. If you can beat only the small fish, you're not going to fill your stash, your rewards are not going to be consequential, and you're going to continue to fall behind. So one of the paths in the game is this thoughtfulness around management between power and fortification, attack and defense, but then faith is a matter. Golem charging stations are a consideration. Your stash is a consideration. They all require your resources. Limited resources, thoughtfully allocating those in a meaningful way to maximize your returns is the name of the game. And like I say, 7 months in, and the commitment is so small. Like, this video is the longest time I'll spend on this all week. There will be no other, like, this is so insignificant in terms of how much it costed of time it is. There are 3 different claiming windows. So you can either claim from the game every 4 hours, every 8 hours, or every 12. You start off and you have to claim every 8 hours, which means every 8 hours you need to log into the game and you need to press the claim button. That's it. Now, if that's all you do, you'll fall behind, because there's a management. Like I said, there's a thoughtful progression in management. You need to claim and then put that value to work. You're going to claim X amount of part, and you're going to put it in the most thoughtful way possible into the power and abilities that your city or your golem or whatever language you want to use here, to improve it maximally, to increase your income maximally. And if you do that, the next time you log in 8 hours later, you're going to get more. And again, the next time more, until you then run into a wall where the stash is your limit. Then you have to increase the stash, and then you have to increase your battle stats so that you can continue to increase the stash, etc. And on and on and on. So it's this path deeper and deeper. And every time you use tokens into these buildings, they're actually burnt. They're not recoverable. They're gone forever. But there's a huge amount of inflation on the tokens because everybody's getting paid in part by the game, and then simultaneously with shards. So there is a ton of inflation, and as a result, the cost of shards the cost of part and shards have fallen dramatically over the 7-8 months that I've been playing. As you can see, it used to be 8/10 of a penny, no, 8/10 of a hive, and now we're all the way down at 3/10 of a hive. And that's only in the last few months, but it was even higher way back before that, right? Like when the game was just getting started. And the same is true for shards. So the question really is not just, first question is, with anything like this, do you think that this could be entertaining for you? If so, maybe give it a shot. I enjoy this type of game. I've played this type of game my whole life. It's like a text-based game. There's not a lot of visual feedback with it, but there's a thoughtfulness in the economy and the tokenomics of it. Like, I mean, literally how I handle my tokens and manage my economy so that I grow faster and faster and faster and faster than you do. That's the thoughtfulness. That's the power and the interest of it. And then the rewards are tangible too, because like I say, $60 in 25 days is pretty solid. And that's after 7 months of commitment. But if I had put in $100, $200 or $300, I would be in such an even bigger place, because again, compound interest works powerfully, right? It's every time I take $1 and I put it into something like this and I reinvest the product from that, I'm snowballing in a bigger and bigger way. This is actually the really cool thing about cryptocurrency based video games. When they give you rewards that allow more rewards, like Splinterland's NFTs, like monster cards, they give you those, and then those cards allow you to win more often, and therefore you get more cards, and therefore you win more often, and therefore you get more cards. But also you get more SPS when you win, and that allows you maybe to sell and buy more cards, which allows you to win more often, which allows you to get more cards in SPS, etc. It's the same idea in here where there's that compounding effect. And then that's like the basic of it, but man, there's so much to it. Like they've done a lot of development. They've created season passes, these claim passes essentially. This is a claim pass, Pinnacle Blacksmith claim pass, and they've got these AI generated, I assume they're AI generated NFTs that you can earn by participating in these essentially season passes. And that burns, the Pinnacle Claim Pass has burnt 710,000 shards. It burns it. It doesn't give it to the company, it burns it. So there's deflationary mechanisms that are built into the game. And that's more recent. That's been really thoughtful and a new addition, and it's been really helpful. And yeah, I mean, it's great. And, for 2,500 shards, you can participate and you'll get access to, essentially, you just log in and it's proof of life. You come and log in and you're going to have access to you do your claim every 4, 8, or 12 hours, and you're going to have access to your next NFT token. But again, it requires an investment, and then it requires your participation in the game. And they've had a few of these already in the last 2 months. They've had, I think, 3 or 4 of them, in fact. And then you can use those NFTs to bonus your returns. So there's backgrounds, and those backgrounds are the things you're seeing. As I look at on this screen, you can see this background has rotated a few times. That's my background that I've chosen, but it actually has bonuses to me. It actually provides a 3.3% additive shard claim multiplier. So I get more shards when I claim. And that's important because shards are actually a significant part of the resource generation or the financial reward for playing. And you can actually do a variety of these. If you have multiple, you can do multiple. You got to pay 10 swap hive to get an extra third slot. But right now I only have 2 meaningful ones I could use anyway, so I'm not going to do that yet. Advisor provides bonuses, obviously. There's different advisors. This is just a common that they've given me, but there are others that I'm inclined to try and pursue. There's modules and tech. Now, I don't need you to know all about what these are, but suffice it to say they are NFTs that you can earn either through crates or by buying off of the peer-to-peer market. Again, just like Splenderlands, these cards are tradable. And so there's a revenue opportunity even by speculating on a card or on a crate, which is a pack, and then opening it and finding something really cool and then liquidating it. I haven't done that yet, but I'm starting to look at the market. These are the NFTs that I actually own that I've gotten through different claim passes, I mean. And I use them sometimes, like they provide boost in my fortification, so that's more defense. Or they provide the scouts the precise steal range until the next claim. That'll give me an exact percentage success rate for when I attack you, if I'm going to win or not 80 to 100%, 99% I'm going to beat you, or 88%. And that's a huge difference because it gives me a greater degree of confidence when I attack you versus, your neighbor. And so these different NFTs are disposable. They're one-time use, and they give you these interesting in-game bonuses. Very thoughtful and very cool artwork. I think it is AI generated. I apologize to the artist if I'm wrong, but I suspect it is. I think it's really cool looking. And this is one of the ways they've continued to iterate on what they initially started. Initially, it was just the game I showed you, but now it's becoming this more complex thing where these different bonuses and considerations can multiply or interact with, creating synergies with how you engage with the game, maybe maximizing your potential returns. They sell crates. They're doing airdrops. If you participate in this, you're spending hive, and then you potentially can get that module or a new advisor. Those are those key module advisor. These are the key bonuses that change. If you want to see quickly like what some of the crazy ones might be, we can go into the market. So this is the market. Modules are very important. This is the creme de la creme that's available out there. Looks like 5 people have bid 100, or 5 people have bid on this. Like I'll pay 100 hive if somebody wants to give me one of these. And the ask is 1450. So there's no closeness there. I doubt that's gonna happen, but I think somebody bought one today. This means, because yesterday I saw there was an ask of 700. So somebody was asking 700, and it looks like maybe somebody paid it. This is the best module that exists in the game at this moment. And see how it says 2 big stats and 2 medium stats? It's going to mean that they'll have, this card will be yours permanently. It'll be applicable in your module on the inventory, and then it'll give you 2 significant bonuses and 2 medium bonuses. Things like maybe it'll be 20 plus faith or 20 plus fortification, or the medium one might be 12 plus power or 12 plus scavenger golems, and then it's a permanent bonus that is just going to add to your. So it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. That's a new element, and something interesting out of that too, I should say. They're actually taking 30% of the revenue from the shard, from the Yixin trinket crate sales, and using it to buy shards off the from the marketplace. And so it's creating buying pressure over here on the peer-to-peer marketplace for shards. There's only a small amount of sale volume over here, but I mean, this sells too. I mean, again, I showed you, I think it was $1,500 a day on the part, and then it's 200 over here. Very small numbers. But again, I'm quietly making $2 a day off of this stuff. Maybe $2.25, $2.50. That's pretty cool. You can't say that about most video games. And I know there are some blockchain based, tools and technology and gaming that will promise crazy numbers. But if you follow my channel with Splinterlands at all, you know that my vision for why this stuff is interesting is because it's trivial in nature. Like, the rewards are trivial, and yet that allows them, 1, to be sustainable, and 2, to be this, for someone who has a long vision like myself, there's this multiplier opportunity because of the compounding that I'm going to do, like with the Splinterlands, with Golem Overlord, with any other game like this that I touch. I'm going to go in and consistently be there when other people are sleeping on it, because I know the power of compounding that investment. I know that if I'm there every 8 hours to do my claim and I'm reinvesting that part, I'm going to see more growth than you. And if you fail to do that, you're going to fail to grow the way I grow. And I'm counting on it because I'm more attentive to these things than some will. But if you are willing to recognize the power of your time and attention, if you're willing to sort of invest in something like that, in terms of just even the time it takes. Yes, there is some financial cost. Yes, I did put about $100 in. No, I haven't. I guess I'm not free rolling yet, and it's 8 months in. You might argue that's not worth it. Okay, maybe not. I'm $65 back on my $100 investment. And I will also say that, the game is still in alpha, and there's some really exciting potential. As I showed you that marketplace, it's interesting. It's interesting to think through that's the crazy massive module. But I mean, even the rare ones that one's selling for 80 hive. Like, these are NFTs that are tradable that people are buying, and meaningful returns are happening for some people. This is one of the other advisors. I don't really even know what Thorns will mean. I guess it's going to mean like defensive bonus, probably. I would think Thorns seems like a defensive technology. Increased chance to find divine encounters. Some of this is TBD, but I think the vision is that it's just constantly growing. Season passes, modifiers like modules and tech have been coming to the game, and there's new quest log that they just recently started, and it's creating revenue, essentially a little bit of revenue as you kind of learn the game. But then more than that, as that one advisor implied, I think there's going to be expeditions, like there's going to be things you go on. It's like fetch quests. I think it's kind of going to be like Fallout, the Fallout Shelter. That's what I would like in this game too. Fallout Shelter. If you never played it, it's a fun game. In this game, you essentially you manage your economy to maximize your income and grow your city as fast as you can, and then you send out minions. You might call them golems, right? It's the same idea into the wasteland to come back with resources, and you even have to manage those quests in Fallout Shelter. I think very much Golem Overlord is aiming in a similar direction. And it's super early, but for that reason, I'm excited. I'm enjoying the process. I'm liking this game. There's a lot that I don't yet know, and there are ways in which, I didn't even talk about guilds. This game has guilds. The guilds provide bonuses. I didn't talk about really choosing like how to do like what I've done. it is a choose your own adventure, because there's not just one way to win. You know, it can be offensive, it can be passive with the power and the defense. I'm inclined to say the power is probably the better approach if you're just getting started, but you do need some scavenger golems. What you want to get, the sweet spot, and maybe this will be where I finish. The sweet spot is really knowing that you can max out your stash every single time, and yet growing your stash, you know, every so often, so that you're creating this moving target for yourself. You want to become more and more powerful, not stagnate. And so you want to fill your stash every time, and you want to be growing that stash every time or regularly, so that you can keep moving the goalpost for yourself and get better and better. But that means that you're going to need some amount of scavenger golems that create a certain amount of passive income that keep you below the radar of your opponent's interest, while filling your coffers significantly enough that your power can do the rest. Because that's what happens. You get the passive income from your golems, and then when you come in and you're about to claim, what you do in 8 hours, I'll have my next claim ready, and I'm gonna have X amount of battle energy. Right now I have 2, but by the time my claim is ready, by the time this little clock goes away and I'm ready to claim, I'll probably have 9 or 10 energy. And at that moment, before I claim, I'm going to do 9 or 10 battles. I'm going to attack people. I'm going to move. I'll probably have 800 in my stash, and I'll claim roughly 1,000 by attacking people. And that's because of the model that I've implemented here. My power is kind of my bigger issue, my bigger power, my bigger capacity to steal from you is bigger than my capacity to earn for myself. But again, there's just different ways to play it. And I don't know if my way is optimized. One more thing. No, there's just too many things I could say about this. Like, there's a real interplay and complexity with how you manage this. You know, everything from prestige to reputation to golems, power, fortifications, charging stations, faith, and your bank or your stash. It's all, there's a give and take with the different things you have, and you only have limited resources. That's where the thoughtfulness comes in. If you had infinite resources, you wouldn't need to be thoughtful, but because there's limited income being produced by your imperfect ecosystem, you have to then recognize, okay, how do I spend them best to increase my returns maximally? And that thoughtful nature can produce success in a game like this. And I'm enjoying the process. It's been almost 8 months. I can't believe it. And again, we're still in alpha. They say alpha 0.22. I mean, there's a lot of things coming, a lot of changes coming. And I think the future looks bright, especially when you recognize that the tokens they're giving out are being created by them. So it's not like there's a financial cost apart from the servers for them to like issue part or issue shard. It's not, you know what I mean? And then they sell packs, which people want, and that creates a certain revenue, etc. And so it's interesting, and I'm participating, and I would encourage you to give it a shot. But I do think if you recognize that this is not something you do once in a while. It's something you need to regiment yourself about doing. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's probably 5 minutes 3 times a day, or 5 minutes twice a day, depending on which sort of window you choose to battle at or claim at. I find longer is better, because then you only have to claim twice a day, but you have to unlock that feature by reaching a certain prestige level, as well as paying a little bit of part. You have to reach level 30 prestige, and you have to pay 225 part. So that might seem unattainable. It is unattainable, at least for the first few weeks, unless you just really throw part at the game. But yeah, it's a fun game. I enjoy it, and so I wanted to share this with you. And it is generating revenue for me. It's about $2.25 a day, $2.50 a day. I'll leave it there. Guys, have an amazing day. God bless.